gummy bear.
It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this for March 11th, 2024 for the next hour or so. Let me help you sort through the world of gaming on Game Mess Mornings Live with me, Jeff Grubb. Today, Nintendo celebrated Mario Day with release dates, Lego, and movie news. But first, please join me in welcoming today's co-host to Game Mess Mornings. It's Mike Minotti, everybody. Mike, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm good. Happy Mario Boxing Day to you, Jeff.
Yeah, likewise. It's an important one. It's an easy way to wind down from all the festivities, of course.
I actually did have some festivity. The local brewery here had a whole thing. They had a special Mario beer they tapped. They had a band playing all this Nintendo music. They even had a contest. Super Mario World was playing. You had to get the lowest score possible after 4 levels. My brother got second place on that because he's slower than me. I played too good, but
Sure.
he did. Yeah, he was better at being worse than me.
Of course, yes. That sounds like a lot of fun, though. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, packed. Never saw that place busier than that too. So
very cool. Yeah, you were up streaming late again last night, I think, at least for a little while. I was trying to sleep, and I got some a text message from you, which usually means you are streaming, and someone did the little thing to text me. Were you still playing Mortal Kombat Mythology Sub-Zero, Mike?
Yeah, well, first I had to go back and kill Shinnok so that Dan could get, the proper Super Dan 64 Dan of Steel experience. We did that.
Right.
But yeah, I've learned, I actually had the #1 record holder on the speed run in my chat helping me, giving me some tips. Yes. Shout out to Sagat. So, and then he has a guide. So actually played through the game in about 70 minutes now, which is good enough for 9th place, which there are only 9 recorded speedruns right now. So I'm not last, at least, if this gets accepted. If this gets accepted, I'm not last. We'll see if we can get the top 5 maybe. But yeah, I'm one of the best Mortal Kombat Mythology players in the world now.
And you're proud of yourself?
No, absolutely not.
I'm proud of you. I think that's pretty cool. Are you going to keep at it? Are you going to try to get that time lower, or what's happening here?
Like I said, I want top 5. Fine. Right now, it's a speed run in the sense that I beat the game kind of quick, but there's a lot of mistakes. I'm still figuring stuff out. I'm not. There's some harder glitches that #1 does. Sagat. That I just kind of look I'm like, that's annoying. I don't know if I'm gonna bother with that, but there's still plenty of time to lose.
Fair enough. All right, let's explain what we do here. Most weekdays, I, Jeff Grubb, help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings or find the RSS on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. All right, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door and Luigi's Mansion 2 release dates have been confirmed for the Switch. This is from Jordan Midler at VGC. At the end of a new video posted to social media to celebrate Mario Day, Nintendo confirmed that Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door will be released on May 23rd, 2024. Alongside this announcement, Nintendo also revealed that Luigi's Mansion 2 HD will be released on June 27th, 2024. These are games we knew about before, Mike. We've been waiting for these release dates. Kind of speculated. Everyone was like, "Yeah, that'll happen on Mario Day." Mario Day came. They had a video go up on social media announcing a handful of things, but these dates in particular. Hey, I'm looking forward to playing these. I'm glad that it's not too far out. It also feels like this does a good job of filling out Nintendo's schedule. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, I'm definitely more excited for Thousand Year Door than Luigi's Mansion 2 for some reason.
Sure.
Although I do like the fact that they took a game that was subtitled and just gave it its proper number again, retroactively.
Nature's healing, in your opinion? Yeah.
Yeah, I like when Nintendo does that, like Mario Kart 7 or similar kind of things, right? Where you don't think they're thinking about numbers, and then all of a sudden the numbers come back.
The numbers were always there; they were just hidden from us. Yeah.
Not that Luigi Mansion 2 is bad, but it's kind of like I'll just play Luigi's Mansion 3. Whereas Thousand Year Door is just the best Paper Mario game. So getting that again is good. I'm being a bit of a stinker, worrying about it being at 60 FPS or not. That first time we saw it was in 30 FPS, and this time we never actually saw gameplay. It was such a short little reveal. So who knows? I'm kind of preparing myself for the worst here and deciding that I'm not going to, not have fun if this game's not at 60 FPS. Although I still feel indignant that somehow may not be the case. But whatever.
People might hear that, and it's like, if they weren't there at the time or they're not really paying attention, you'd be like, well, Mike, games used to run at 30 frames per second back then. Not this game was 60 frames per second on the GameCube, like most games on the GameCube. Yeah, the Zelda Mario games usually weren't, but this game was, along with a bunch of others. The expectation would be it's going to be at 60 frames per second, and hey, that's important to me. I can't help it. Like, I like the way the game looks at 60 frames per second, and it will feel worse at 30 frames per second.
It will, and at least it's not like Tales of Symphonia where there's barely any other enhancements, and it's just in 30 FPS instead of 60 FPS because they lost the original code or whatever, and we're too lazy to do some work there. I know that there are some visual enhancements here, and that's nice. That's cool, but I don't know. It's like a Paper Mario game doesn't seem like the most taxing thing in the world to me. I want that at 60 FPS, and I'm pretty sure Origami King was also at 30 FPS. So again, it's fine. I'll get used to it, but I don't love it.
Yeah, exactly. It's not the end of the world, but it's definitely something that I'm also a little bit of a stickler about. And hey, all things being equal, I would hope it's going to be 60 frames per second. Like you said, with Luigi's Mansion 2, that was Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon for the Nintendo 3DS. Came out a while back. Dark Moon, one I've never really played. And so, this is an opportunity to go check it out. But I don't know. I'm probably going to be too busy playing other things for one. And two, it's like, you're right. Luigi's Mansion 3 is already kind of good enough for me at this point. I don't feel the need to go back to this one that people are sort of cooler on. But I don't know. Is there any world in which you do check out Luigi's Mansion 2?
In Halloween. But then again, it's like, I could kind of go play Luigi's Mansion 3 again. Dark Moon was the one. It was also Next Level, right? So it was the first time they made one. So it's similar to 3 in a lot of ways. But again, from my memory, 3 is just Dark Moon, but so much better and a more full experience, more continuous experience. Dark Moon's whole thing is that there's a bunch of smaller mansions, right?
Yeah.
So, that worked great on 3DS, but it is kind of a smaller scale, and I'm not sure how exactly that's going to feel on the Switch now.
Yeah, and this was Next Level doing Dark Moon, I believe. So this is part of that lineage of Next Level hopping onto the Luigi's Mansion series and then eventually doing 3. But yeah, Luigi's Mansion 3 is kind of where I want that series to be, and I kind of don't need to go back and play the one that's it would be more a curiosity for me at this point than anything else. That said, this does now fill out Nintendo's first half of the year. We're going to get through June with games that they have now announced publicly with release dates. That does leave most of the second half of this year completely open, though, for them. In addition to Paper Mario and Luigi's Mansion 2, there's Endless Ocean 3. They announced at that last partner showcase, partner direct. There was a handful of other things in there. But yeah, hey, they have a fairly decent release schedule for the first half. Second half, obviously, still wide open. I mean, I don't know, Mike. Any we've talked about this a bunch of times now, but anything you're hoping for the second half of the year from Nintendo?
God, just some of these. Honestly, in terms of new games, I don't have much hope that we're getting anything too major before the Switch 2. Metroid Prime 4 maybe, but I can't imagine it going to come out and be like, yeah, new F-Zero's hitting here. We're not, it'll probably be more ports, things like that. But there's a bunch of those I actually do still quite want. We got Metroid Prime 1 HD, and that was great. I would love to see 2 and 3 on the Switch still. There's been rumors of that one Fire Emblem remake of one of the Super Famicom games we never got here.
Yeah.
So,
Galaxy of the Holy War, I think, or... Yeah, I can't remember.
Right. Yeah, that's it. So I believe that's right. Yeah. So I'd love to get that. That'd be fun. And, I almost hesitate to say, but we still have those Wii U, Wind Waker, and Twilight Princess ports that we never got over on the Switch when we got most other Wii U games. on the Switch. I guess we're talking about Wii U games we never got here. There's still Xenoblade Chronicles X, perhaps. I think Star Fox Zero is gonna probably stay on the Wii U. Actually, that'll be the one holding Star Fox guard over that system's grave.
What if they what if they do Devil's Third and just crash the market on that Wii U game that's like worth like $2,000 or something like that? They can put that on the Switch. It's not a very good game. No one actually likes playing Devil's Third, I don't think. Let's see. All right. Hey, they do have other things happening over at Nintendo. For Mario Day, including 3 new Mario Game Boy titles released on Switch Online as part of their subscription service. This is from Chris Scullion at VGC. 3 more Mario titles are set to arrive on Nintendo Switch Online's Game Boy library next week, announced by Nintendo as part of its Mario Day announcements. The following games are being added to the service on Tuesday, March 12th. That's Dr. Mario, and then the Game Boy Color games Mario Golf and Mario Tennis. That's a pretty good lineup. Hey, I'm ready to play those games, and that's tomorrow is when these things are launching. So it'll probably actually be in the service tonight. Mario Golf and Mario Tennis, but especially Mario Golf. That's the one I spent the most time with. I adore that game. I played a ton of it when it came out. It really is that Camelot RPG. You are building a character. You're gonna go do like the Mario Golf tour and build up your skills, and have skill points that you apply to your swing, and it's just a really cool adventure. I'm really glad these are coming to Nintendo Switch Online. For Mario Golf in particular, I associate that with my first kiss, Mike. I was playing that game like one summer, and I remember I was playing it, and then I was like, okay, we're gonna go hang out, and I'm like kind of had it in my pocket, and I was like playing it a little bit, and eventually I kissed a girl later that day. So I associate that with my first kiss.
Is that a Mario Golf in your pocket, or okay, great?
Yes.
Incredible story there. Yeah, I'm excited for these too. I don't associate them with kissing or anything,
with human interaction or anything like that. That's absurd.
I actually didn't really play this one. I played the Game Boy Advance ones that were also Camelot and also RPGs, but kind of missed these ones. So I'm pretty happy to go back and play these. The same kind of thing. These RPG mechanics are always fantastic here. It's always baffling to us that they don't just make them like this all the time now with Mario Golf and Mario Tennis. The Game Boy version of Dr. Mario gets cute. That's fine, I guess. It's weird that we're kind of scraping that part of the barrel here instead of like Super Mario Land 1, Donkey Kong 94, things.
Dr. Mario, this is Dr. Mario's debut. It's like if you're going to put a Dr. Mario game on there, it probably should be this one.
Well, it probably came out exactly the same time as the NES version, right?
Not to my memory, but you're right. They're not that far apart, but I'm not going to come at you now, but I think so. I think either NES was first or it was simultaneous. All right, well, now you have to look. But hey, Dr. Mario's like okay, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think we're both kind of not Dr. Mario haters, but that's fine.
It's got good music.
Great music.
Yeah, that's fun stuff. But like I definitely got Dr. Mario at the time, and I remember
simultaneous.
All right, fair enough, man. As a kid, it's like maybe it was just like I could just get the Game Boy game and not even think about the NES version because that's the one that would be more affordable to my parents.
I'm trying to get sympathy from me now. You're wrong. It doesn't matter.
Either way, this is like this is the game that's like you're right. It makes sense it's here, but this is Mario Day and Super Mario Land is not here. It is a little bit weird that one's not popping off.
Right.
I'm not huge on Super Mario Land either, to be fair, though.
But that game's music is incredible.
Oh, yes. All-time great OST. Absolutely.
Right, and it's more than, like, the one track, like Dr. Mario. And, I know why we don't have Donkey Kong 94, because they don't want us to realize that game's better than the recent Mario vs. Donkey Kong remake that they gave us. Sure, I get that. But I'm still pretty excited for the 2 sports games, though. That's cool. I'm always getting excited for these NSO drops still. Yeah. I wish they happened more frequently, but every time they do, I get happy.
Yeah, I mean, I was playing these games on some other devices here and there, like like Mario Golf. I was playing recently on a device, I think probably my Steam Deck, and it's like, I can play this whenever I want, and yet I still think it's cool when they drop on Nintendo Switch Online. It's just cool to see Nintendo acknowledge them. It's, celebrating Mario Day with Mario Golf and Mario Tennis. It's like, yeah, I feel that strongly about them as well. I'm glad that you are highlighting them and making a big deal out of it.
Right.
And then, just getting a chance to see other people play these games for the first time. That's nice too.
Yeah, I just wish they were man, that's the kind of games I'm like, I wish they were like, yeah, now today. And instead it was like in 2 days. I was like, oh, I gotta wait.
Yeah. It was a little annoying too, but it's like, it was Sunday. I'm surprised they even did Mario Day stuff on Sunday, but I guess they were like, it's just a social media post. Pretty easy.
Yeah, and it's March, 10th, and but Pioro or whatever, he called all of this yet again, pretty much.
Yep.
So batting 1,000 over there, that leaker. So that's pretty interesting. Do you think there was a world where, Switch 2 is going to come out this year, presumably with a new 3D Mario game, and they would have talked about that here? Or do you think they would have just switched up the direct plans a lot if that was the case?
I probably we're never going to talk about a new 3D Mario here coming out for a Switch 2 later this year, because it sounds like those plans were always, if they were going to start talking about the Switch 2, that was going to happen in April or May, I think was like the original rumors. So it's like this still would have been too early. But maybe they make a mention of like more Mario news to come. That's something they could have done. Yeah. And now the fact that they didn't say that, well, shoot. Yeah, that Switch 2 is coming out next year. Hopefully more Mario news to come by early next year at the latest.
Which of all the made-up video game holidays is your favorite? Mario Day, you got N7 Day. You have the Last of Us, everybody got affected, and that guy's daughter got shot by cops day.
Yeah.
Which one brings you most joy?
I definitely do have the most joy for Last of Us Day, because it's so absurd. Like, I just get online, I see people celebrating, I'm like, what the hell are you people talking about?
Like, happy Infection Day.
Yeah, that one's so wild. Is there one with Sonic stuff? I mean, I don't know, obviously Sonic Tuesday, but doesn't Tails have a day or something like that?
Does Tails have a day? I don't know if Tails. It was Sega. To me, it's always 99.99 is the day.
Sure.
Dreamcast Day, because that release date was so brilliantly marketed.
A lot of firsts on this episode.
Yeah, you didn't kiss that time. Were you busy kissing or playing your Dreamcast?
I just got my license and I was showing off, and I slid off the road into a fire hydrant. I've definitely told that story before. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was driving home from my friend's house. We were playing Dreamcast.
That's funny. My only speeding ticket I ever got was on the day the Wii came out, because I went over to my friend's house, forgot my Wiimote that had my Wii on it. So I was like, I got to rush home and get it, because they're all having so much fun playing Wii Sports without me. And then I went too fast and got a ticket there. So at least I know my ticket was exactly on November 19th, 2006 because of that.
I have way more speeding tickets than someone who used to drive for a living, way more than just the one to remember.
Yeah, I work at home, so I don't have to drive a whole lot. So that's nice at least.
Sean says February 27th is Pokemon Day, clearly the best.
Oh, that just happened. That's right. Is there is there a reason that just like the day Pokemon came out? Is that the reason it's Pokemon Day?
I would assume so. Yeah.
It doesn't look like a Pikachu from like a certain angle or something.
Right, yeah,
those numbers.
Blur your eyes. Yeah. Mr. Mime pops out of 227. OG release date in Japan. Okay, that makes sense.
There you go. Makes sense.
I like Mario Day. It's fine.
It's fun, and I get it. That does look like Mario when you write it like that. And that bar I was at was packed. Actually, a lot of children there. People just bring kids for the band and stuff. Everybody likes Mario. Maybe not as much as they like Mickey Mouse, but they all love Mario.
All right, more Mario news. Let's see here. Lego's new Super Mario kits focus on the franchise's most mischievous characters. This is Cameron Faulkner at Polygon. Lego has 3 new Super Mario sets launching on August 1st, and it teased Mario Kart sets coming in 2025. While it only showed a silhouette of Mario's signature kart, it's pretty exciting nevertheless. As for the 2024 releases, Lego dropped a bunch of details on new sets as part of Nintendo's annual Mario Day celebration. With every release, it seems like the possibility for antics multiplies. Case in point, Roy, King Boo, and Bowser star in these upcoming sets. There's the Bowser Express train set, which is going to be $120 with 1,392 pieces. Let's see, there's also the a King Boo's Haunted Mansion set, which is 932 pieces and be $75. It's Luigi's Mansion inspired. And then there is Roy at Peach's Castle. It's a battle with Roy at Peach's Castle, 738 pieces and $65. These look cool. I'm still a big fan of these. I don't know if it's something that like the Lego fans are like care about all that much. But as someone who's like, a little fun Mario game that I can play with Lego, and my kids seem to like it, I'm still down. And I was actually at Meijer yesterday, and I was going through the toy. I was picking up some stuff for like Easter, and I did see some of these things. I'm like, man, there's a cool new like Bowser set that looked really neat. I'm like, man, I kind of want to get those and build it, but I have too much of my backlog, so I skipped over it. But I'm still getting excited about these, Mike. I don't think you care though, right? Most people don't. It seems like.
Gosh, Lego is so expensive these days for what?
Yeah.
Like, it's to the point where if I'm gonna get a Lego set, it has to be something I really care about or think is really cool, like the McAllister home from Home Alone, right? Things like
something
that.
Truly artistic, yes.
Right, like the Bowser Express train is neat. Like the Haunted Mansion fun. I don't know why Roy is getting so much of a shout out here. Everybody's favorite Koopaling, I guess. More of a Ludwig guy myself.
I'm a Roy boy.
You're a Roy boy. That's fine. I could see that. I don't love the way the Mario characters look as like the Lego minifigs for one thing. They always look a little kind of weird to me, especially Mario himself.
Have you used it? Have you?
I haven't as like a game, like the gamification stuff of it.
But just like have you like held one and like seen how they interact with stuff? Because it's like the animated eyes and face and stuff. It's kind of makes up for all the weirdness of the character overall.
That would probably tickle my fancy if I saw that. They also announced like Mario Kart ones are coming next year.
Yeah. So they teased a Mario Kart one coming next year. They didn't say much about it. They said they showed the silhouette of a Mario Kart, like an actual kart. There will probably be more to it, or maybe they'll just build a cart or something like that. But yes, so this partnership is continuing. They continue to expand it, and then next year it's going to include Mario Kart stuff, which I think makes a lot of sense. That's going to be very popular. Of course, they're going to do that. Is there like, are you annoyed or like, man, wake me up when you do this with Nintendo and Lego, or like even Mario and Lego? But like obviously Nintendo's got so much going on. Are you like, man, I wish they would do this?
I would definitely be more excited if they branched out to some other Nintendo properties.
You're not going to do Star Tropics, Mike. You got to stop. You got to shut up about that.
Pretty great, though, right? Just like, there's a little submarine. Make a Lego version of that letter you have to dip in water. But, like, for Lego, I think buildings usually are the best. So, like, getting Temple of Time from Zelda, that would be something that I would actually get a good deal.
The Breath of the Wild one, the dilapidated one. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Or more, I think that when they did the NES, that was cool. If they did more consoles, I would get excited about that. Give me a Lego GameCube. It's already basically just one giant Lego brick anyways. It wouldn't be that difficult. So
do you think the eject button would be working, and would you be scared by it?
All right, you don't have to go for low blows here. I thought that this was a friendly show.
You should know better. Hey, the GameCube one, so that's a good idea. I would love to build a GameCube Lego set. That'd be great. They probably get around to some. I mean, the GameCube one is, they know how much nostalgia is there for that. Whether they keep going with all those other like sets like beyond the very nostalgic ones, we'll see. But at the very least, it seems like this partnership's not going to like fall apart anytime soon. They just are going to keep doing more and more stuff, and I think they probably know that there's a lot left untapped in the well before they're done. So I hope they keep going with these deep cuts. I still like the Mario stuff. Keep that going as well.
Yeah, Jamie H1224 here just showed me the question block. This is the one I got you for your birthday at one point. There you go.
Yes,
this is the best one I think they have right now. I like this one.
It's very cool. All right, let's see here. There will be some kind of new Super Mario Brothers movie in 2026. This is from Ollie Welsh at Polygon.
This is Miyamoto.
This is Miyamoto, and the Super Mario Brothers movie will be getting a sequel of some sort. Nintendo and animation studio Illumination have announced that they're re-teaming on a second film, quote, based on the world of Super Mario Brothers, to be released on April 3rd, 2026. In a note shared on Twitter by the official Nintendo account, Mario creator and now movie producer Shigeru Miyamoto said of the new movie, quote, "We're thinking about broadening Mario's world further, and it'll have a bright and fun story." The wording suggests that the film might expand beyond the first movie's focus on Mario and Luigi and perhaps bring other characters to the fore. But for now, there's little to go on. Little, that is, apart from the Super Mario Bros. Movie's post-credit scene, which strongly suggested Yoshi could play a big part in the sequel. Mike, you called that scene, so tell me what's happening in this next movie.
Yeah, I'm going to be shocked, but I think it's going to be Super Mario Brothers 2. I know their wording seemed weird and almost deliberate here, like they were avoiding that. But especially when it's like the original team, right? Like, I don't think this is one of the spin-offs or something that we think might happen. Maybe this is Luigi's Mansion. Maybe this is just the Pure on Donkey Kong movie. I think that after your Super Mario Brothers movie makes $1 zillion, and it's not like with Marvel, right, back in the day, where like, well, you just spin off a bunch of different production crews. There's only so many animation teams at Illumination. Maybe the people who made Migration, maybe they're going to go and make one of these spinoffs.
Yes, they will. They're not going to make it. They're not making Migration like 2. They're not making Migration 2. No.
But
it was a movie that came out last year and flopped. Everybody, you don't even know. They don't know what it is.
Migration is.
You don't know what Migration is. It's fucking
ducks were involved.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the team, like the directors that made the last one, they're just making the next one. I'm pretty sure this is just going to be Super Mario Brothers 2, and I don't know why, they didn't just come out and say that. Movies are always kind of so weird. Like even this announcement, right? It's not like they could show us a teaser or anything because movie production doesn't really work like that. So you kind of just have to tell us like, yeah, that's coming in a couple years. Nothing to show you now, though.
Yep. The thing that's throwing people off is that based on the world of Super Mario Brothers, I think. Right. Which you're right. That they probably mean Super Mario Brothers 2. That seems like the most likely thing. Obviously, think back to like the early days of the MCU. It's like Iron Man 2 came out quicker than most other things came out. Like that's the kind of thing.
I think it was actually second. Yeah.
Yeah, I get this. Like I'm trying to remember.
That's what I was thinking.
I thought it was actually second too. Yeah.
Right. I think it's Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America, Avengers.
Yeah, that sounds right. But I mean, either way, it's like clearly they were like, well, that's just the easiest one to follow up on. Something similar is probably happening here. They want to expand. They've already announced plans to do more in all kinds of different directions. But in the meantime, expect Super Mario Brothers 2 first. So what's the plot, Mike? What happens with Yoshi?
Yoshi hatches and he's down to party. And
shit.
Yeah, but like he parties hard and it kind of makes Mario uncomfortable, but Luigi gets wrapped up in it. Drugs, sex.
No.
Yeah. So it's a problem. So Mario tries to like pull his brother back from the brink.
Do anything for a sack of mushrooms, bro?
Yeah. No, not mushrooms. I'm talking about crack cocaine.
Oh, okay, cool. Yes, for sure. All right. I don't know. That Zelda movie also got announced. We know that's coming, but that's Sony Pictures. The PlayStation company is making the Zelda movie, of course.
Of course it is.
Yeah, because we live in a normal world. I don't know. Anything else you want from Illumination? Like keeping in mind how hard it is to spin these things up. If they were to like take a big swing in the movie after this, what do you want them to do?
Oh gosh, I think they're going to be pretty safe in the Mario universe for quite a while here, right? I know we like talk about the Smash Brothers movie someday. Well, how much does that mean? Does that mean you're going to like actually have them do a Fire Emblem movie or like some of these other Nintendo properties or anything like that, right?
Well, I mean, I think the easier way to set that up is you start expanding it a little bit more with like a Mario Kart focused movie, which could be a big, like they're talking about a bright, fun story. I wouldn't be surprised if Mario Kart is like an even bigger part of the plot going forward.
Maybe Mario Kart is like the Peacock series, right? And it's just like wacky races back in the day. I'd enjoy that.
Yeah, and then you could bring and that gives you like even more leeway if it's a TV show to bring in tertiary characters. Like, and at that point, that opens up the wide world to be like, oh, well, now we have to go have a fighting tournament, I suppose. I don't know. Smash Brothers seems like one that is a glint in someone's eye, maybe, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're like not even really thinking about that in any real way.
I think what they're really thinking about is more Mario movies for sure.
Do you think the second movie does anywhere near as well as the first movie? Because or did like you do? Because I'm like part of me is like, did the Super Mario Brothers movie like satiate the desire for that? And now people are like, well, we saw that. I'm good.
No, people fucking love Mario, and a lot of them are kids. I mean, you heard that is one of those movies that the kids make their parents put on a zillion times. It is going to be a huge thing. I think it'll probably do even better just because that first weekend will somehow be even more massive.
Fair enough. All right. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, a few more headlines to get through this show. Thanks for sticking with us, everybody. All right, we are back. And another Nintendo emulator is shutting down following the high-profile lawsuit against an emulator in the last couple of weeks. This is from Andy Robinson at VGC. Another popular Nintendo emulator has shut down following the settlement of a high-profile lawsuit earlier this week. Pizza Emulators, an app which allows you to play Game Boy Advance and Game Boy games on Android, were both pulled from the Google Play Store on Friday. In a Discord message republished by The Verge, developer David Barrera claimed he was shutting down the emulators to prioritize his family over the development of the apps. He made no mention of the popular Nintendo Switch emulator that got sued by Nintendo, Yuzu, but it seems like this is part of the fallout from that. There have been several developers that of emulators that have sort of pulled out, Mike, in the last couple of weeks of supporting their apps and supporting their emulators. This is the latest one. This is like the cooling off period that we were kind of expecting, right? That Nintendo was going for. They got to be feeling pretty good over Nintendo about, hey, we can like scare so many people away from this. And in the meantime, this kind of stinks.
Right. That's exactly right. And there's a lot of GBA and Game Boy emulators out there, at least. What worries me are things like PS3 emulation, where there's not a lot of choices, and it's come a long way, but still has a way to go. That'd be bad if that goes away. Is this another one that had a Patreon? Is that the problem here?
I don't get a Patreon, but like you can probably could buy it on the Google Play Store. There were several that you could buy as apps. Now, let's be clear. The Bleem established that you could buy emulators. You could buy and sell emulators. Like that was, you could make it a business. That was protected against that precedent set in that lawsuit when Bleem was playing PlayStation games on Dreamcast. Is that what that was?
That's what Bleem was, baby.
And so it's like that alone is not necessarily a problem. It could be, like, they still could relitigate that if they wanted to. You could sue anybody for anything. But the problem with like Yuzu seemed to be that they were promising specific copyright protection bypasses in their Patreon. So it's like the Patreon exacerbated this thing that is already against the DMCA, where it's like, everyone goes like, and you're selling this to people? So yeah, that's the specific issue, or there's several specific issues, but that was one of them. So actually selling your app on the Google Play Store or having a Patreon alone is not necessarily enough to be in violation of copyright. This guy told The Verge that he shut down this emulator to prioritize my family or development of my apps. And I'm sure there's some truth to that. And I'm sure there's a bit of truth of, hey, a little freaked out about what happened recently with Nintendo. So, I hope it's just a wave of the people who are kind of on the fence anyways about if this was a great thing for them to do. And hopefully that initial rush is going to end here soon. And there's some stabilization. And there are still, a lot of important emulators out there that are going to be fine. And I hope this doesn't become a wave that keeps growing and keeps taking out more of these things. Yeah, I mean, I think that you're right. You're right that it'll wave in one direction and then it will recede, and then we'll kind of reach that stabilization period. And I think a couple years from now, it'll be a whole new crop of people making emulators, getting into this scene, setting that stuff up, and they'll remember that this happened, but they'll be doing it more as hobbyists again. And I think that that's a shame, because I am glad when people do all this work that they found ways to get compensated. And yet it's like, Nintendo is going to occasionally come through and just, give that haircut of, you guys were getting a bit too bold. You were getting too in our faces about how you were making a ton of money, enabling people to play Switch games, something we're still selling. And if, as a byproduct of that, we scare away all these other, emulator developers, oh well. Citra obviously is one that shut down. That was part of the Yuzu thing. But there's been several things. But I think what's going to happen is most people are still going to like get these little Chinese handheld devices that use emulators, or they're going to get RetroArch off the online, and those things will continue to work just as they did before for the most part. And people won't necessarily notice this, and except for in fringe cases where it's like, oh, I want to play one game and it's not supported. What's happening there? Oh, they're not developing updates for this anymore. Well, that stinks.
Right.
But listen, if we wake up one day and the Dolphin team's like, well, we're not updating Dolphin anymore, even though
that'd be bad.
I'd be very frustrated by that. And even though they've already had a few like run-ins with Nintendo about like the stuff that they have for the Wii that's in there, I believe that string.
Right. Well, remember they tried to put it on Steam. That app.
Right. Exactly. And Valve's like, no, exactly. So like they've already skirted around there. And yet, please just keep making Dolphin better. That's such a cool thing.
Yeah, that would be when it got real bad to me. That would be like this big turning point where, like maybe people rise up a little bit as if they went after Dolphin, because boy, is Dolphin. It's the most like, if there's a household name emulator, it's Dolphin, right?
Yeah, absolutely, right. And if suddenly they felt like they were going after that one, I think people would. You're right. They would take notice in the way that they haven't before this. All right. Warner Brothers is retiring all Adult Swim games. This is from Alex Hopley at Game Reactor. Warner Brothers really is on a hot streak of gathering hate right now as the company continues to chase profits. It has locked away completed movies for tax purposes, shut down digital media studios with decades of experience, and now in its latest move, it is looking to retire Adult Swim games. Game creators who worked under the Adult Swim's games banner told Polygon that Warner Brothers informed them that their games would be taken down from Steam and other marketplaces. Apparently, studios are still largely in the dark about what this could mean for their games, but around 20 titles could be affected. This sucks. Adult Swim games did some cool stuff. This stinks.
Yeah, they did like Frog Fractions 2, some other important games. What's the benefit to them here? Why delist these games?
I mean, I imagine it's like probably a couple issues where it's like, okay, for one, we have to have customer support for these things that we maintain, and that's like a little bit of a cost. And then anytime we have to like have relationships with these developers that we once had, then we have to like maintain that. So we have to have someone hired to handle those things. And then there's probably is still some like tax benefit of deprecating support for things previously. So it's probably a combination of factors.
They just have a department at Warner Brothers looking for tax write-offs. This is the company that's just
that's
releasing.
The business they're in. They are in the business of getting tax write-offs. Yes, absolutely.
Incredible. Right, because they have that Coyote versus Acme movie that like everybody wants. They're like, nah, we'll make money by not releasing that.
And everybody wants. And other companies are like, we will give you $30 million for this movie. And they're like, no. We want $70 million. It's like, well, okay, well, can we negotiate? I'm like, no, we're going to just go get a tax write-off instead, because actually what we're worried about is we would give you this movie and you would make more money with it than we would make from it. And that would be embarrassing to us. And so what the fuck are you talking about? That's crazy. Just put the movie out. Yes, this is an example of that. Adult Swim Games was really cool. They did a lot of cool work. They were always at like, you go to an indie mega booth, they would always have a couple of games there. They'd always be looking for the next hot game. And they did a great job of finding that talent and surfacing it. And it's like a real shame that we don't have Adult Swim games specifically anymore. We have a lot of publishers that took a lot of inspiration from what they were doing. But Adult Swim games definitely had its own voice that stood next to like Devolver and all these other publishers. And it's a shame that they're not doing it anymore. It would be a much bigger shame if suddenly all that work was just erased. Just can't believe Warner Brothers is this way.
Yeah, why is Warner Bros. This way? They are just absolutely spiraling right now, it seems, for a company that, again, last year released like the biggest single-player game, right? Biggest premium game. Before that, they had plenty of hits. They seemed like they are a company that are actually doing really well for what was just the gaming division of some movie studio. And man, it is going wrong over there real fast. And it is kind of scary thinking about what is still coming in terms of bad news from Warner Brothers.
Right. It feels like at any moment, some other bad thing could happen. And then they shut down 3-4 other things, including like game studios. So that feels like that's in the cards still, which continues to be pretty upsetting, because they have put out a bunch of good games, and even the good games, the great games that have sold a ton, they're like, yeah, that's not good enough. What does that have to do with us? We need more money than that, and it's bananas. Next story here, Multiverses returns in May, sticking with WB with new characters, modes, and more. This is from Jason Finelli at GameSpot. After its open beta was temporarily halted last summer, Multiverses, the platform fighter starring Bugs Bunny, Harley Quinn, and more familiar faces from Warner Brothers and DC Comics, is on its way back. WB and Player First Games have announced that the game will relaunch in full on May 28th. A new development update video was released by Player First today, hosted by the studio's game director and co-founder Tony Huynh, which confirmed the release date. It also revealed concept art for new stages, enhanced visuals, improved performance, thanks to a move to Unreal Engine 5, and mentions of new personalities, netcode, and new PvE modes. All right, hey, I am glad that this game is actually going to come out again. But when it was in early access, quote unquote, and then like people were buying characters, all this other stuff, and then they were like, that was just a beta. We'll see you someday. That was one of the strangest things I've ever seen in games. And I'm like, is anyone going to still care once this game returns? Right now, it feels like no, but maybe I'm wrong. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm skeptical too. It seemed like this game's moment was then, and then you already kind of lost that momentum. So at least, you do have this big relaunch. Maybe that does get some people back and excited again. I don't know, but it just feels like the moment came and passed with Multiverses already. It's kind of like, oh, we're talking about Multiverses still. Oh, that game technically never came out, I suppose. All right. I don't know. I have a hard time imagining this making a big impact.
And when it originally came out in a beta, it did make a big impact. It had over 100,000 concurrent players on Steam. It was a massive hit until it wasn't. And it started to fizzle out. And then it had fewer, and it was a free-to-play game, so these numbers matter. But eventually it had fewer than 1,000 concurrent players per day. And that's when suddenly they're like, hey, this is a beta. We're going to pull this in. We'll come back with something new here eventually. I don't know how much they'll be able to shift things up. And I mean, the only thing they could really do is, I guess there's two things. They could make it such a good platform fighter that the fighting game community cannot ignore it. That seems really difficult to do. The other thing they could do is have an onslaught of new character announcements that they're always teasing that are so interesting and people care about so much that people can't ignore it. And I think that is even more difficult because you kind of already have the coolest WB characters in there. And
you already have LeBron James in there. Like, what are you going to do?
Exactly. I guess they could put Algae Rhythm from Space Jam 2 in there. But, once we get past that, what do they have left?
Yeah, I think at first there's a lot of excitement just seeing this new platform fighter, and like the presentation was great. It looked really good. For me, I think a lot of people, it became clear that the mechanics really aren't as deep as Smash Brothers. All the tag team stuff that they were doing was kind of interesting. I personally can't stand some of that live servicey stuff that they were doing, not with the monetization, whatever, but with like the level up your character to level 10 so you unlock your second badge slot, then figure out if you want to put your plus 10 critical rate badge on or your plus 5 defense against Batman coded. I hate that shit. I hate like these badges and the loadouts. I'm like, oh, what's my Steven Universe loadout? No, just let me pick Steven Universe. I don't want to do any of that shit.
Yeah, and I think they're going to probably enter a world in which very few people care. And I think by contrast, the Nickelodeon All Stars Battle Royale or Battle All Stars, however you say that stupid name,
that's even right.
They just put out a sequel, and people bought it. Not everyone in the world bought it, but they just like, hey, we had the first one, and instead of like pulling it and turn it into a live service, doing all this other stuff, we'll just make another one of those. And the audience that wants those and wants new characters, they'll just buy this one as well. It kind of feels like that's what where they should be at with this. But that's
but Warner Brothers, the biggest game ever, Jeff.
And Warner Brothers just said, if it's not a live service game, what are we even doing? Even if it is the biggest game ever, Mike, it was like they had the biggest game ever last year with Harry Potter, and even that wasn't good enough. So, hey, Warner Brothers, you're gonna figure it all out and buy it. I mean, you probably are not gonna figure anything out, and you're gonna fucking spiral for the next couple of years. Yeah. All right. Well, let's see here. Sea of Thieves pre-orders on PlayStation are beating out just about everything else on PlayStation, including the Elden Ring DLC. This is from Darren Bonthus at GameSpot. Sea of Thieves is headed to PlayStation 5 on April 30th, and the game is currently sitting near the top of the U.S. pre-order charts for that platform. The premium edition of Sea of Thieves is one of the best-selling pre-orders currently, beating out other games like the upcoming Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree expansion. The game's standard edition is also high on the list and is the 7th most pre-ordered game at the time of writing. Interestingly, Sea of Thieves was the best-selling pre-order on PlayStation Store according to Bingy Sales before MLB The 24 usurped its position. So
MLB The 24, huh?
MLB The Show 24. Yes, MLB The 24th. Oh boy. Yeah, hey, Sea of Thieves is a very popular game. This isn't too surprising, but it's like, no, of course PlayStation fans have probably been looking over at like streamers playing that game and feeling left out a little bit. So yeah, I'm not too surprised that this game is doing well. Although it is weird to see, hey, Sea of Thieves topping the charts on PlayStation. What do you think?
Yeah, and there's a novelty. I think of all of like these games from Microsoft that are going to other platforms, just feels the most like an Xbox game in a lot of ways, right? So I see this one getting a lot of attention. What's the benefit of pre-ordering a digital game?
I don't know.
Why do people do this?
I don't know. Yeah, I think it's just like part of it is excitement and habit, and like, oh my god, I want to play that game so bad. Well, they'll let me buy it now. Great, and maybe preloading so that it's ready to go the second it drops, so they can play with their friends. That might be part of it, but beyond that, Mike, I really don't know. I mean, there's a lot of people who are like, I know I'm going to play Shadow of the Erdtree, so whatever. Here's my money. I just want it ready to go. I guess
yeah. People saying like, it's like pre-order bonuses sometimes are early unlocks. I guess that all makes sense. All right.
Yeah, makes sense is a big word. Huh?
Makes sense is a big word. They're all just giant Monkey Island fans. They're gonna go play Legend of Monkey Island with me. It's gonna be great.
That's what it really is. Did you ever finish that content?
Not yet. I want to. I still need to do that with my brothers at some point. You know how last year was with video games and how it hasn't ended yet. So now I'm a fucking Mortal Kombat mythology speedrunner. That's my spare time apparently.
Yeah, it's either brand new games taking up all your time or Mortal Kombat Mythology Sub-Zero. You've made good choices in life, Mike.
Yay.
Sales of Ori games have surpassed 10 million copies. This is from My Nintendo News. Moon Studios and Microsoft's Ori and the Blind Forest, as well as Ori and the Will of the Wisps, have been available on Xbox consoles and on PC for years, and Switch as well. Is that both of those are on Switch?
Yep, both of them are on Switch.
I can never remember. The former game release... Oh, yeah, they go on to say that here. That said, you may be curious as to how well the Ori games have sold. Well, Moon Studios CEO has confirmed on his Twitter account that there will have been a combined total of 10 million copies of Ori games sold in total, making it, as he points out, probably the most successful Metroidvania game ever. And I think it's hard to argue that.
Yeah, if that number's right. It's that guy tweeting it out, Thomas Mayer, right?
Yeah, is he still at that studio?
Yes, it's his studio, and
right,
him and some other guy. He's always been an interesting character. Remember when he went on a rant on Reset Era or NeoGAF or something? That somebody talked about how Ori clearly took inspiration from Hollow Knight, and he got mad and kind of was being mean to Hollow Knight. We did a whole expose or a deep dive over at Games Beat by Dean Takahashi about a lot of people's employees' sort of alleged problems with this guy. I don't know. I'm not trying to say I don't believe 10 million copies for the Ori games, and I love those games, Jeff. You know that. I don't know if you know. Anybody likes those games more than me.
I don't.
It seems like a lot for those games, and I'm like, do you mean players? Because those things are on Game Pass and stuff like that.
I feel like it should be more than 10 million players if it's on Game Pass in 2 games, but maybe not that much more.
I mean, me and
you
both know how well the Metroid games sell, right?
Right.
Metroid Dread was 3 million copies, and again, Ori's on Steam and Switch and Xbox, so it's on more platforms and probably many more sales than Metroid. So I guess there's a world where this can happen, but man, it's just that's a massive success. One that you would have kind of expect to hear more about, maybe from the Microsoft side or things like that. It's kind of weird that just got tweeted out, not a press release or anything like that, just tweeted out by the guy, this milestone.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I'm trying to think in my head. It's okay. So it came out on, it's been on Xbox and various Xbox platforms for a long time. It's on PC. There's 2 games. Ori and the Will of the Wisps seem to have a lot of excitement about it. And then it did go to Switch, and they could probably do pretty decently on Switch, like 500,000 to 1 million copies sold for each game, maybe. So I guess it's not completely unreasonable, but man, that does seem like a pretty big number for those. So yeah, it could mean players. All right. Final Fantasy 16 producer says PC players can expect a pre-release demo within a year. This is from Tom Ivan at VGC. In an interview with Game Informer, producer Naoki Yoshida reportedly said development was progressing smoothly, although the company isn't yet ready to announce a release date for Final Fantasy 16 on PC. In terms of where we are in development currently, we're trying to figure out the final stages of optimization right now. He said, when we can release the PC version might be dependent on that, the system requirements and specifications for PC that players will need. So we're trying to figure that out right now. Naturally, the PC specifications are looking to be somewhat high. Square Enix is planning to release a PC demo ahead of the full game, likely within the next 12 months, he added. We're looking to release a demo for the PC version as well. Again, we can't really talk about it too much in terms of details of when it's going to come out. I think in a little bit more time, we'll be in a better place to announce such things. Yeah, I think that this is something that's not too surprising. They always said pretty much from the beginning, this is a game that will come to PC. When Final Fantasy 16 came to PS5 at launch, they were like, hey, we sprinted on the PS5 version. We haven't really even been thinking about the PC version for the last little bit. So it's like it was not going to come like 6 months later. And now we are more than 6 months later, right? Like, where are we at with that? How long ago did
that game came out last like June, so yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we're a little bit more than 6 months later. They seem like they're okay. We'll get around to this, but we're not gonna rush that either. So, but Final Fantasy 16 on PC will be happening probably, I guess, maybe before the end of this year. Even I know he said the next 12 months, but I wouldn't be surprised if this is like a holiday game for them on PC. And Michael, you finally beat it when it's on PC.
Well, I'm not gonna restart it. No, I'm gonna beat that game on PlayStation 5. Is my plan for sure.
Well, the plan is still to beat it though.
I want to beat it actually very soon. I kind of feel bad about being
Is that like up? Like, are you still? I can't remember. Did you beat Persona 3 Reloaded?
No, I'm still working. I'm playing that every night.
Okay, so it's like that, more than halfway. That's up first, right? Okay, and then maybe Final Fantasy 16 back to that after Persona, maybe.
Maybe I need to start like streaming that or something. There's also DLC coming to Final Fantasy 16 this year. The Rising Tides, all Leviathan themed, right? So maybe this comes out after all that DLC is done, and then it's just sort of with this version on PC of the game, right?
Yeah. I played enough Final Fantasy 16. I don't hate that game, but it's just I don't even dislike it necessarily. I just got my fill of it, and then everything you hear from people where it's like, and then like it's that game for quite some time. I'm like, okay, I'm good. I enjoyed the combat, enjoyed some of the music. I thought that what are those guys called? The from the cover that's in that early boss fight, the dragon,
Dragoon?
The Dragoon, yes, the Dragoon. That was a cool ass moment.
That was a great moment because he just does the pose from the Final Fantasy IV cover. He's voiced by Estinian, which is the Dragoon from Final Fantasy 14, and then the music rules. Right. That game has a lot of fantastic boss fights and sub bosses. And then a lot of the other stuff isn't like quite that interesting. And compared to something like 7 Rebirth, in terms of depth of how much stuff you can do, scale is way smaller generally in 16. Still a fun game. But I definitely do want my Final Fantasies to be a bit more. It doesn't have to be turn-based, but it needs to be a bit more like that and a bit less Devil May Cry.
And for people wondering, hey, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth just came out. What about that on PC? That doesn't seem like it's going to happen for quite some time, probably about a year. I would expect about a year from the release of that. So while Final Fantasy 16 could come out this holiday, maybe later, this will be, Rebirth will be probably next summer at the earliest.
Right. Yeah, they got to fix that performance mode so people don't get upset about the shadows on the people's faces and whatnot.
Exactly. All right. I have some poll questions. We'll get to those. While I get those set up, though, Mikey, why don't you tell people where they can find you on the internet and what you got going on?
You could go on my Twitch at Tolkoto and watch me speedrun Mortal Kombat Mythologies, I guess. That'll be fun.
Don't encourage him.
Yeah, you're just jealous. 90s Disney, 90s Disney. It's my Disney podcast I do with my brothers. Jeff and I will have Last of the 10 Dogs tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern over on the Game Mess channels. Fun.
All right, here's your poll question from Friday. Are you going to play Unicorn Overlord? 41% said yes. A big response for this game. That's on 3,000 votes. 59% said they're going to skip it. But that's, I mean, God, for a sort of niche tactics a strategy game with auto battling, you're like, that'd be an easy one for so many people to overlook. Seems like a lot of people are very excited about it. Obviously, Vanillaware has a lot of fans, so they're showing up in this poll. Maybe that's just our audience, though. I don't know. Are you going to play Unicorn Overlord?
This is actually kind of what I want to play after I beat Persona. It turns out like my nighttime handheld gaming thing. So definitely at least want to start it. I mean, I haven't even played the demo, which apparently is 8 hours. So I could do that first and make sure I don't get my fill just from that thing. But I definitely want to check it out. I like Vanillaware quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm going to try out that demo as well. I still have not done so, but hearing Jan talk about that game so much, I'm like, yeah, that sounds very good. All right, new poll question going up today. Did you ever play an Adult Swim game? Adult Swim is like such a cultural institution for me, like growing up and then, watching their shows and then playing their games. That's like, man, it's kind of weird to see it's not as important as it used to be, and they're clearly not emphasizing it. And the games are going away, and it's just like Adult Swim on cable. Like I have cable, but I'm not ever going to sit at home and watch.
I mean, cable is cable, right?
Yeah.
I remember when they started Adult Swim, it was this big deal. It was like those original shows, the Brack show. I think Aqua Teen Hunger Force was there from the beginning. C-Lab.
That's what revived Family Guy. Like, Family Guy was canceled. And
when Family Guy was canceled, then it went there, and it was a huge shit over there. So yeah, a lot of fun memories of those early Adult Swim days, and then they would have anime blocks on there too. I think that's how I first saw Full Metal Alchemist, for example.
That's how I first saw Cowboy Bebop. That was very exciting.
Yeah, there's some. It's always been a fun brand, so it's gonna be sad if that ever goes away.
All right, we will get the answers for that on Game Mess Mornings on Wednesday here on Giant Bomb. Speaking of Giant Bomb, tomorrow, Tuesday, is the Giant Bombcast. Tune in for that. You don't want to miss it. We will have some other fun stuff happening this week. Mike, there's a game called Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection launching this week.
Oh, baby, here we go.
Should
the
we
best game ever.
Yeah, the best game ever.
I am excited. I'm excited to play it. I'm sure. I am certain it is going to be fun.
Yes, I think maybe if we can get it figured out, AT&T would make some sense. No promises, but that would be very fun. So look out for that. We'll see if we can make that happen. If not this week, we will make it happen sometime. All right. Well, we're going to go figure all that out. Mikey, I think that's going to do it. Thank you so much for spending today talking with me about video games, man. I really appreciate it.
No, absolutely. Again, happy Mario Boxing Day. There should just be a Mario Boxing game. What the hell? We call it Punch Out.
I always loved Mario being the referee in those games, but you should have been able to fight him eventually. Yeah, he should have been one of the bosses.
Let me punch Mario.
The secret character in Punch Out for Wii, right? Donkey Kong. Yeah, cool. Mario should have been in there as well.
Yeah, let me punch his stupid fat face.
Yeah, say that a bunch more times for the soundboard, please. All right, everybody, thanks for watching. You're the best audience in gaming. Until next time, have a good one. Take care of yourself, and goodbye. All right.